One of the greatest things about doing Good Morning Frederick is being introduced to new businesses. Actually, being in this community for as long as I have, I'm still shocked to learn that there are thousands of businesses and nonprofits I haven't met yet. And this is one. Migdal Consulting, Marla, I am so excited to learn about what you do because you've had some advocates online who said you must get her on the show. And so I'm excited to hear how you help the community.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your specialty. I think I was reading you deal specifically in dyslexia.
Yeah, so I'm a dyslexic specialist. I'm certified by the Center for Effective Reading Instruction. But originally, this business came from I was a parent. I'm a parent of a child that was struggling in Frederick County Public Schools. I actually had two struggling, and I didn't know what to do. I was an educator. I was a special education teacher, and I realized that there was not support in education to work with this type of learner, this diverse learner. And so through advocacy and learning on my own, I realized with the help of my own children, I realized there was a greater need within the community. And so I originally was never planning on starting a business. That wasn't on my to-do list, but there was such a need to help. And so I first started volunteering and working with a grassroots organization and learning as much as I could about dyslexia. And then I would volunteer time to help families in Frederick County. And then it started during the pandemic. We realized there was such a need that was beyond just this county. So reluctantly, I decided, okay, let's become a business. And now I have tutors, and we tutor virtually. And then I consult and go into IEP meetings, not just in Frederick County, majority in Frederick County, and but I go across the country as well. I was in Florida the other day, so.
Wow, that is incredible. Well, I guess I'm kind of disheartened and excited for you, but it's crazy because dyslexia has been around for so long, and the fact that there was nothing there was this huge gap for your children that you found is a little scary, actually.
Yeah, it was surprising. You really couldn't even say dyslexia. Frederick County actually, over 20 years ago, had a program, and then with the new turnaround, they threw it out. I was just so distraught that, my son at the time was 4 or 5 years below grade level, and I thought, oh my gosh, and so I identify with my clients because I am one of my clients.
Yeah.
In that sense, I know what they're going through. And so I've sat in that IEP meeting. I've sat in the special education seat. I sat as the distraught parent. And now I'm sitting as the, consultant. And our county has turned, it was rough in the beginning. It was a rough ride. And our county, because of the advocacy of parents like me and educators, they're responding, and so you can see a difference between our county and other counties, but it took years compared to other counties. The teachers, they have a better understanding. They're more open to hearing suggestions and collaboration, which is how I want it to be. It's the parent who I support, it should be the most important person in that room. And so when I come in, sometimes I have to interpret what's going on because you're in a room and there's 7 other adults around, and it's very intimidating for the parents. And so, I walk in and I'll stop a meeting and say, oh, this is what this means. Because and I've sat in the other seat, I'm like, it's going over the person's head. I need to explain this so they understand what you're asking them. So sometimes I'm a little bit of an interpreter, and it's just, I just wanted to create a business of what I didn't have for.
Well, I mean, that's exactly how successful business is built, right? You see a gap in the market and a need, and you've obviously worked to help fill it. So how many years have you been, when did you start your business?
So I started my business, this will be my 4th year.
Okay.
Getting a 4th just. So
Yeah,
we're
that
on the
was
newer
good.
side.
Yeah.
And it really, I contract with school systems. So that's why originally one of the school systems said, well, you need to be a business in Maryland and be official. And I said, okay. And I actually now am a business in New Jersey because we're contracting with a New Jersey school. And so now I had to register in another state
Oh,
as well. So
yes.
and with virtual, the business has grown. So now we have some in-person tutors, but we have some virtual tutors as well. And so we are serving a lot of students where they might not be in Frederick County. Some are still where they want that
Mm,
extra support. And we work with kids with dysgraphia and dyslexia, and we do some writing as well with reading. We mainly tutor using Bauman, Orton Gillingham Plus. It's a wonderful program.
I
And
have no idea what that means, but I'm sure if
so,
you have a child
yeah,
with dyslexia.
what it means is it's a multi-sensory program that's explicit, and it really works at that like foundation. So most dyslexics are missing that foundation. And so in order to build that level to be a proficient reader, many of the students are missing that base. Like if you're building a house, you have to have a strong, foundation.
Yeah,
So that's what
yeah.
we go back to, and we do in a way that we use all their senses. So because a lot of times the memory, like it needs all the senses.
The studies over the years have been that, many kids learn so many different ways, but certainly the more things you can activate in your brain when you're learning something, the better chance you have of retaining that information. And,
Yeah.
I think there have been studies about like the fidget things and chewing gum and doing things that'll trigger that memory of what you're
Yes.
learning. So that's amazing.
With dyslexia, and that's the thing I consult with, as I explain, this is what's happening. These are the characteristics. So when schools can identify, they can't diagnose, but they can identify those characteristics. And that's what's changed over the years. And so there's been a lot more really fruitful conversations about what dyslexia is, what it's not. It's not based on intelligence. And so, it's a high percentage of students that have dyslexia. And a lot of the times the parents say, oh, I have that too, but I wasn't, and so,
Right.
and in many of my clients, they really can't read. So I have to really
Wow.
interpret, and I have to be very sensitive about it, because they'll get an email and they'll send it to me, and the school system doesn't understand it's genetic,
Mm,
So I'm saying, you need to share the information with me. Please put me on the email. The parent gave consent because they are not interpreting the information, and they need support as well. So
mm.
there's a lot of my clients are as well, whether it's the father or the mother. There's a strong genetic connection. Rarely is it just out of the blue. Usually it's someone's grandfather. Maybe they weren't identified and they said, oh, they left school early, and oh, they're great at building things, or they
Right.
own their own business. A lot of dyslexic own their own businesses, and they have their own path they create, because the school system is difficult to maneuver when you have these learning challenges.
How much time between advocating for your children and starting this business? How much time passed?
About 2 years.
Okay.
I had to really, I was almost doing stuff at the same time. I went back to school also to get my certificate.
Mm,
I needed to have the credentials to be able to back up what I was saying, even though I was already had a master's in special education. Now they are assessing students in kindergarten for characteristics, and so, but there wasn't policies to kind of really support this, because we need to identify them early. My son, now he's a freshman in college, it's still a struggle. He was not identified early. We are privileged that we were able to support him, but many
yeah,
parents, they don't have the funds, they don't have that. So
sure.
that's why we advocated for it in the school.
How do people get to you? Is it when the school kind of says, "Okay, this is now something we have to do"? How do they get to you?
So there's two ways it can go. So some parents are saying something's not right. I've gone to the school. Parents can go through my website and contact me. We're able to do some informal educational assessments, and we're able to see exactly what skills are, like I said about that foundation. And
Mm.
we're a little nerdy, and we like to look at error analysis,
Love
and
that.
we get down to the nitty gritty. Like we get down to wow, you know what? They really like to add the L sound to this certain word. Like we're able to pinpoint exactly. Well, the first reaction of the parent is, I should have known. And I always say, I had a master's in special education. I didn't know.
You have really sat in every position, so you truly do
Yeah.
understand the whole process.
Yeah, and I even understand the side of the school. So some of my clients, we just do consulting, and some of them are just tutoring, and some are all.
I can only imagine the relief that these parents must feel that not only have they identified, again, with your children, it's that would be so stressful. So to know that somebody is advocating for them, their child, and the child is getting the help they need to be successful in life. That's all we want as parents. So
Exactly.
I think what you're doing is really, really fascinating and excellent. And I'm sorry you have to exist, but I'm glad you're there.
When your children are 4 and 5 years below grade level, it impacts them holistically. Like, it's just,
Oh,
and
of
I
course.
didn't want any other parent to go through what I went through.
Yes, no, I appreciate that. Well, this was fascinating. I'm definitely going to reach back out to you in a couple of months, and maybe we can kind of do some little slice recaps, because I do think this is so vital for parents. When
Yeah.
if you see something, something is wrong with your child, or that they're not kind of up to par with other kids their age. You never know what it could be, and dyslexia or some other issues could be the underlying. And we're
Yeah.
so happy you're out there for the parents and the kids, not only of Frederick, but around the country, which is really exciting.
Very exciting, very exciting. And I really was just an educator, so the whole business is it's been I've had an education in business. It's been very
Yeah.
interesting, a lot of supportive people, but it's been a interesting learning experience running a business.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. All right, we really appreciate it, Marla Migdal Consulting. Please reach out to her if you may have a friend who's been talking about issues with their own children. Please send them to her, and hopefully get everything sorted out. Thank you so much.
Thank you.